I discussed this last night. Didn't upload it. I decided, nah, I'll do it again in the morning. This isn't a hockey video, although I'm still wearing my hockey jersey and hat from the last video I did. And it's about something I read online. And I need to make sure that I grab the article and put it in the description below this video. Getting older sucks. And there's no way to turn back the clock. And I very often have dreams about when I was in my 20s, and it sucks. The one thing that I always told my son that Mother Nature's kind of mean with is that your body gets older, but the things you want to do, the things you like to do, and the things you like in general don't really change. It's just your body says no, no, and then when you hit about 30, your metabolism says, yeah, so I'm gonna head down south, and I may not come back. You can try to get me back, but probably not going to happen. And then 40 rolls around, and this didn't happen when I turned 40, but last year I've really noticed it. Testosterone just gone. It just feels like it just goes, and it's like your all of that get up and go seems like a lot of work. And and I don't mean that in a lazy way. Like I do meetups with people, and I've even told Yvonne I need to make sure that I keep doing my regular exercising, and that I keep having meetups, and I find a way to do that. And I love jogging. Jogging is one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world. But at the same time, it just my body's changed. I can tell that muscle mass isn't what it was. I noticed that I want to say the last year that I did the manual labor work that I was doing, I noticed that things that I had no problem lifting a year earlier, all of a sudden, like, wow, this really kind of sucks. It's hurting my back. Why is this hard for me to lift? I wouldn't say anything, because the last thing you want when you're old is for people to think you're old. So, and I consider 45 to be old. And for the internet, that's ancient. As a YouTuber, that's bloody ancient. That is why are you on YouTube? You shouldn't be on YouTube. You shouldn't be on YouTube. You don't belong on YouTube. You can't be a YouTuber. You're too old. As I stated in a video I did on this channel previously, I think being an older YouTuber gives me an appreciation for this that I think, and I'm not saying all, because that's stupidity, but there are some younger YouTubers that I watch them, and I'm talking the big ones, and I think to myself, they really don't appreciate what they have. They don't understand what they've been granted, because they'll have over 1 million subscribers, and then they'll complain. And I'm thinking, don't start complaining when you got 1 million subscribers. I just passed 57,000 on my other channel, and if I complain about anything, people are, calling me out on it. And that's just the nature of the beast, man. Like you're flirting with losing what you've got. But getting back to my point, there was an article released and a study done, and I say study with quotes, because anytime you read on the internet about a study being done, your response should be, and rightfully should be, okay, is that really a study, or is it a study? Stating that men who put on some weight and have kids and settle down in their middle ages, and I don't mean like medieval times, I mean in your middle age, tend to live longer than the ones that are in the gym and working out and staying skinny and got to stay in shape. And I thought of wrestlers when I read that, and I thought, there's a lot of wrestlers that have heart attacks young, and I've always looked and gone, steroids. But what the article said seemed to make some sense, which is that if you're overweight, and I don't mean like 500, 600, I'm not talking about some really big weight. Like there's obviously too heavy when you're taking your health into your own hands here, and you're taking risk you really probably shouldn't. But for a guy who might have a spare tire, bloody hard to get rid of, and that you live longer because you're not stressing your heart out. You're still active, and I still do a lot of walking, and I still do a lot of stuff, and I try to make sure that I'm up and around. I get really mad if I'm just stuck in the house doing videos all day and I don't do anything all day. I feel like that's a wasted day, even though I've done a ton of work online and probably a ton of prep work to get that work up online. I still feel like it's a wasted day for me physically. But what was funny in the article was that it said that um, that you're likely to live longer. That there's certain cancers that don't seem to hit guys who are a little bit heavier rather than the ones that are in shape. And there's other health risks too, which I thought was strange because I've always been looking at men's health magazines, which show me I am woefully out of shape. Men's health magazines make it sound really simple too. And this is something I've discussed with my wife because there is, women definitely have to fight it. That whole you have to be perfect, you have to be perfect. The one thing that I've always said is that if a group of girls were lined up in front of me, even when I was back in grades 5, 6, 7, and girls in my class, who would I have thought was pretty? Probably the girl who was probably ideally 10 to 15 pounds heavier than what the ideal would be, because I just thought she was prettier. That was very often the case. And I always found that attraction was that way. Now, I didn't have a problem with pretty girls by any stretch. But yeah, I very often would look and go, oh, she's really pretty. And guys would look at me and go, dude, seriously? Her? But that one's hot. And I'd be like, I like her better. She seems more down to earth. That one, I'm poor just looking at her. That one, okay. Now, what this article also stated is that women apparently, young women, feel that way when they're looking at older men, which is that the older man who's got the abs and might be all bulked up. But the guy who's got the kid on each arm and might have a bit of a gut, they're like, he looks like a really nice guy. And they might feel more of an attraction there, which didn't necessarily surprise me. I know I was alone until I was 25 and I met my ex, and then suddenly I'm dad. And then all of a sudden there were girls who had crushes on me, and I have girls like, oh, I think you're cute, and I think you're this. I'm like, the hell were you when I was single? I was alone for years. Where the hell did you come from? And it was because I was a dad, and I in my cubicle, I had pictures of my kids up and pictures of me with the kids, and I'd talk about my kids and my life and everything, and these girls were just glommed onto that. So yes, I've kind of experienced that. I haven't had that in a long time now, but I mean, I don't have a regular job, and I stay away from women in general. I just do. I like, and if I think a woman thinks I'm attractive, then I'm like, and I'm really gonna stay away from this one, because yeah, and it's that their eyes linger a little bit, or there's that little extra smile, and you're like, why are you still? Oh God, crap. Okay, I'm gonna go. I have to go over to that side of the room because you're doing that eye thing, and I'm over there. But the article, honestly, and I read a few. I didn't just read one. If I have anything to tell people about how the internet works, when you read something on Facebook or you read something on Twitter or you read something, do research. Don't just accept it on face value and go, oh, hey, look, that tells me exactly what I want to hear. Don't. Do full research and be prepared to be disappointed. And I was fully prepared to be disappointed that this idea that somehow being a little bit heavier means that I might live a little bit longer. But yeah, it checked out. And the whole idea that just be happy in your skin, which, again, women get told that a lot. Men, it's different. It's like with women. Okay, so you have the Me Too movement, you have all these things. So now there's a more accepting atmosphere for women, although there's a limit to it. Absolutely, there's a limit to it. But with men, there's sort of a buck up. Buck up. Stop whining about it. Just go do this, go do that. Shut up. Just shut up. Just go fix it. So there's sort of a difference in how men get treated over the being in shape and being healthy as opposed to how women get treated. And both are unacceptable, but it is different. And so it was nice to read an article that was kind of nice. And then I read a couple of articles as well from men who were my age, or in one case, he was older than me, and happy with who he was, happy with how he looked. And he said, I am sexier than I've ever been. I feel better than I've ever felt. And I came out of that and I thought, you know what? I kind of have to stop worrying. Because one thing about being on YouTube, and then we're doing meetups, is that I'm physically compared to guys who are 25 years younger than I am, or more, and I'm not as fast as I was 25 years ago when I play floor hockey or road hockey, and I'm not as in shape as I was back then, although I don't eat as much as I did back then. And I probably do more than I did back then. But hey, when you're young, your metabolism's just like, I got this all under control. And then, metabolism and testosterone head down to Florida for the rest of your life, and they won't answer the phone when you need them. But that made me feel better. I genuinely felt better. So, if you're going through that kind of thing where you're feeling, man, I'm getting older and everything slows down. Yep, it does. And it's just your body's way of dealing with it. Because what started me looking at this was I looked up, weight gain as you get older, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out, and then it's like everything I looked at said, yeah, that's completely normal. And I was like, huh, that sucks. That's crap. I don't want I don't want it to be normal, damn it. But the other thing that you have to weigh is if you're going to a gym for an hour every day and you're eating bunny food and you're denying yourself everyday stuff that you want, in my case, I would be straining my heart. I know even when I lost about 15 pounds a while back, and most of it's come back. Not all of it, but most of it has. And while I felt somewhat better, I also felt like um, I was minding what I ate and what I did 24 hours a day. And when I also had my channel, and when you've got a YouTube channel and you've got Twitter and Discord and Instagram, it can feel like you're 24/7 there. So if I was 24/7 doing all of my social media things to try to make sure that I'm keeping up with what's going on and putting out fires where need be, and then I'm also 24/7 obsessing on what I'm eating, what I'm doing, and where I'm going, and counting calories, and I'd have a nervous breakdown. I've had nervous breakdowns over my lifetime, and I've talked about it on my other channel as well. And it's worth noting that I haven't had one since I met my wife. I haven't had those same issues. I've fought with depression certainly, but I had numerous nervous breakdowns in the 2 years preceding meeting her, where I would just completely lose it, and I would be completely gone for sometimes days, and I was just useless. And I'd work through it, but I was a zombie at work, and I would keep my head down and I wouldn't talk to people. And so when I look at everything that goes on with all the social media stuff, and then I'm thinking, okay, now if you're adding the stress of this, you have to be this weight, and not only that, but I obsess on I have to be this weight now. I have to get to 135 now. And then the other part of it was when I looked at pictures of myself from when I was 145, 140, I look really unhealthy. I look really sickly. And I remember, and I've mentioned this on my main channel, or maybe I've mentioned it only in Patreon, that when I lost weight the first time, my ex-wife was approached by coworkers who asked whether or not I had cancer. Because that's how I looked. I lost 35 pounds in 2 months. And I looked sick. And people were asking her, is he sick? Is he okay? He doesn't look well. And how did I take it at the time? Yes, people are noticing. This is great. This is awesome. And the best part is when you're already kind of half bald and you keep shaving your head every now and then, it really helps with the cancer rumors. So, yeah, could I stand to lose 10, 15 pounds? Yes. Will I do my best to make sure that I don't blow up? Absolutely. Because if I get to a point where it's a really negative thing to my health, then that's a problem. But at the same time, I have enough in my life that distracts me and causes me distress. I don't need more distress. So there you go. My long-winded explanation of all things middle-aged, that for anybody who's 25 years and younger doesn't have to worry about this for decades. But 20 years from now, you can load up this video and say, Shannon, thanks. Thanks, because I need this now. And if you're one of the older subscribers, and there are older subscribers, there may be some nodding and there may be some, hey, I never gained weight when I got older. And there are people that do that. There are people who can just get older and not gain weight. But the other thing too that I've noticed, there are people that are my age and they're in shape. And some of them look great. They genuinely look fantastic. But some of them they're skinny, but they don't look healthy. So again, and it goes back to when I see people like that, I'm thinking, is that how I looked? And then I look at pictures and I go, yeah, that's how I looked. So it's a balancing act where it's like, I'm skinny. I don't look like I'm healthy, but I'm skinny, and that's where it's kind of tricky. But hey, there you go. I'm done. Sorry this video ended up being longer than I intended. Thank you for getting through it if you did. And I know on the Entertainment Guy channel this may not be entirely entertaining. So I apologize for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. I'll talk to you again soon.